is our history. Buildings and people and memories and dreams. Who better to tell us than those who were there? There's so much to learn from the stories they'll share.
Living history. Living history.
Hello and welcome to Living History with Ted Goldsborough. Today we have the great pleasure of having back Pat McCabe. In the past, Pat and I had talked about the McCabe brothers and Rock Hill Quarry down on Rock Hill Road, a family business for 3 generations. But today we're going to be talking more about Pat's family history, growing up in Bala Cynwyd and living in Lower Merion Township. So welcome, Pat. Thanks for being with us today.
Ted, my pleasure again. I really appreciate you and Lower Merion Township taking the time to tell a little bit about my life history, my entire life living in Lower Merion Township. Good. And look forward to. Could you tell us about
a special house made out of Rock Hill Quarry stone?
Sure. I was born and raised at number 2 Radcliff Road in Bala Cynwyd, right on the corner of Radcliff and Penarth Roads. And it was a fascinating and interesting childhood and early adulthood. Times were so much different back in the 30s and 40s and 50s. And I lived there with my parents and my siblings until I was 28 years old. I just recall, like they were yesterday, many details of those times and the various activities that we did with playing ball with neighborhood kids and snowball fights and sledding and other interesting activities. Yeah.
Where did you go to school? Elementary school?
Yeah, I went to a Catholic school for all of my schooling. I went to St. Matthias Parish School down in the 100 block of Bryn Mawr Avenue from 1st to 8th grade under the direction of the famous Catholic nuns of the era, and that was quite an education. One of the most inspirational people in my life was a nun that I had in 7th grade there. It really put me on a path that helped me live the life that I've lived. Yeah.
Did you walk to school?
I did. Yeah. I was the oldest of 4, and in the early days, it was my sister and I, who was 3 years younger than I, and I was charged with the responsibility of making sure that she got to school safely. I mean, it wasn't the kind of things that was any dangers like we have today with kids, where we have to protect them every moment. But yeah, that was a very interesting 10 to 15 minute walk, and sometimes back for lunch and then back to school in the afternoon. Before the days of busing, for sure.
Was for students who couldn't go home for lunch, was there a cafeteria?
Yes, as such, it was a basement lunchroom, we used to call it. There wasn't any prepared food. There was milk delivered daily, small containers of milk, but everybody brought their lunch that stayed for lunch.
I see.
Yes. Yeah.
So no steam tables,
no hot food. Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Wow.
You know, a piece of cake left over from last night's dinner or something like that, and a piece of fruit.
Let's say you were in 2nd grade or 3rd grade. How many students would be in a class, and were there more than one 8th grade section, like 8-1, 8-2, or?
No, there wasn't. The number of students was around 30 to 40 per class. It varied. and that was the regimen all through my 8 years there. Half boys, half girls, of course.
I know we have a picture here of your class, and I should dig that out while we're talking, but
yes,
I'm sorry not to have had that at the top of the pile here.
The picture you're going to get to is my second grade picture from St. Matthias School. And looking at that roughly, I think there's about 35 students there. And I can remember pretty much the name of every one of these kids today. These things stay in your mind's eye for some reason from that far back.
Right.
Unfortunately, after grammar school, I went in town to St. Joe's Prep to high school, and there were about 5 or 6 of us from this school that went on, and they became my lifelong friends, really, until adulthood. And I am sad to say that of that group, who I went to school with and actively participated in youthful activities around the neighborhood too, they're all deceased. Yeah, one of them just passed away a couple of weeks ago, so I feel badly about that. But that's
if you hadn't gone into Philadelphia, where would the students from St. Matthias have gone to high school?
They would have gone to the diocesan high school at the time, which was St. Thomas More High School, which was located at the corner of 47th and Wyalusing in West Philadelphia, near 47th and Lancaster.
Okay.
That was a school that was a Catholic high school that was only in existence from the 1930s to the late 1970s, but it produced quite a few alumni around, and they have a tremendous alumni association. Yeah.
The old school building, the St. Matthias School Building.
Yeah, that was torn down, Ted, I want to say 30 years ago, and a new school building was built to keep up with modern standards and such. I don't know much about the school after that, because as I said, back in the 1970s, about that time, I left the parish and got married and went on to other locations. Yeah. In
Catholicism, generally, do parishioners go to the church that's near where they live?
Yes, yes. It's geographically defined. There are boundaries to every municipality, and that's the way that the Archdiocese of Philadelphia handles their geographic
Why did you choose not to go to the diocesan high school?
Well, that goes back to that 7th grade nun, and she almost in a way directed me. She thought I was had the native intelligence to go on and take the entrance exam. You didn't need an entrance exam to St. Thomas More, but you did to the other school, to St. Joe's Prep, and that was the motivating factor. I had no other motivation other than that. I was just a follower of a kid at those days, and that's why I say this direction is so important to me.
Did your younger brothers follow your high school career or go?
No, they went to other high schools around. One of them went to Monsignor Bonner High School. My sister went to West Catholic High School, and another brother went to Laura Murray. So we had varying career paths, or educational paths.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So we were back on Penarth or Radcliff, and you're living at home with your parents, but and we had mentioned this on an earlier program. 2 of your uncles, I believe, had built houses with Rock Hill Quarry stone, and you visited those homes occasionally?
Yeah, we would, my brothers and sisters. Especially my Uncle Tom's home on Harvard Road, where the attraction to go visit Uncle Tom and Aunt Kitty was that they had television, and we did not. And so Sunday evenings we would traipse up Conshohocken State Road, 2 or 3 of us in tow, and watch the Ed Sullivan Show, and had to be home by, I guess, 9 o'clock at night after those shows.
Did
But,
they have children?
No, they didn't. They
So it was nice for them
It
that
was
you
nice
all
for
come
them.
and visit.
Sure, the kids
Yeah.
were coming to visit.
Good,
yes.
good,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
I see we have a photocopy of a plaque at the Memorial Triangle near the Cynwyd train station on Conshohocken State Road. And there's Thomas McCabe from the First World War.
Yeah, that's my Uncle Tom.
And is that the
And
one
that's
that you
the one
visited?
that I visited. Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
okay.
He was one of my dad's 3 brothers who all were in business together that we talked about before. And I don't know. I know he was overseas. I know he was in France. I don't know much about his participation. I think he told me a lot of war stories that I've now forgotten through the years. He was a fine old man.
You and I had questioned you to try and keep straight in my mind, but Tom was the first one of your uncles to die.
Yes, that's right. He was. My Uncle Tom passed away. He had heart problems. I don't think they were associated with the war or anything like that. In 1954. And my dad and his other 2 brothers really lived into almost 20 years after that. So it was a loss, but the fact that he just had a widow and no children. So
Did the widow Kitty, was it?
yeah,
Did she
Kitty.
continue to live at that house? Okay.
She did until her late years. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, we want to talk about some of the jobs that you had when you were a kid, but we're getting down here pretty soon. We have to take a break. But could you tell us, we could
Sure.
start with the jobs.
I could talk about varying jobs from my days as a water boy down at the quarry, my days as a bulletin paper carrier. Subsequently, I was an usher at the old Egyptian Theater, which is now the Bala Theater. And then I had some part-time work as a mailman. Christmas, working, delivering mail, extra Christmas mail out of the Bala Cynwyd post office.
Now, Pat, we got to take a break. So we'll be right back and we'll continue with the mail.
Good, Ted. Look forward
Thank
to
you.
it.